All right, so welcome everybody. It's September 1st and new month, which it's kind of cool to have a call on the very first day of a new month because I feel like we can really set the tone for the month. And congrats to everybody who, there were some last minute pushes in August, and I know that there was some magic happening at the end of the month. And congrats to those of you for that. And if that didn't happen for you, everybody gets to start anew now on the 1st of September. So that's kind of cool. I think at least even in my head, I think getting my kids settled back to school, getting back to our routine and all that, it makes me feel much more likely personally to get back on board with an exercise program, even for myself. I know at the end of August, we had vacations and then we had a death in our family, and then there was getting everybody ready for school and back in activities and blah, blah, blah. And I kind of feel like by come mid-September, I'm going to be ready to jump back into, or even after Labor Day, I'm like, okay, I need to get myself back on board. Which program am I doing? What am I doing here? So anyway, so I think this will be a great month for that kind of stuff. And I truly think that Beachbody does the Cup Challenge on purpose in a month where they think that we may need an extra push to do something. So I think that kind of clued us in that August was probably going to be a slower month, and that's why they did the Cup Challenge then. So they probably don't do the Cup Challenge in September because I think naturally that will probably be a better month, so they don't need us to have the extra push. However, we're going to talk about in a second, there's a really sweet gift for Success Club this month. I can't even believe what they're offering to us. So anyway, so for today's call, we are going to talk about what's going on for September. And then we're going to have Mia's going to share her story with us. And as I think you all know, we're going to have a different coach share their story with us every call. And it for a number of reasons. One, so we can practice sharing our stories with each other. Two, so that we get to know the team a little bit better. And then three, because I feel like as we get to know each other a little bit better, as we're talking with our customers or potential customers, and our story doesn't quite relate to their story, we can always think back of, oh, well, that's not quite like me, but I know this other coach on our team who has a very similar story to you. So maybe unlike me, moms, whatever, it's 3 boys, that kind of stuff, but I may have a potential customer who is who's getting married, and maybe there's somebody on our team who's can speak to that or whatever. So there's lots of good reasons to kind of be a collector of stories. And then finally, the other thing I'd really like to do as kind of a reward, so to speak, for anybody who's sharing their story is we're going to kind of walk through. I've been taking notes as people are sharing their stories, and I want to kind of walk through with people and maybe help define a little bit better their niche markets, just based on what, kind of pulling things from your story of what I'm hearing about who might relate to you or who you were before you started Beachbody, and how we can kind of get back to finding that person. So I really want to encourage everybody to take a week to share your story with us. And, we're a friendly audience, so you don't have to worry about that part, but just be brave and be willing to share, because I think it will only help you and how you practice sharing your story, but the team, and then also your potential business moving forward. So having said that, Mia is actually going to share her story with us tonight, and I want to give her the chance to do that because I know she has to jump off soon after she shares her story. So I'm gonna let you take over, Mia, and I'm gonna myself so we can get good.
Okay, I'm actually more nervous than I thought I was going to be, but I don't want to say too much. And if I see you guys getting bored, I'll definitely stop. No, but basically, my story, I've shared it in a lot of the groups, but I've left out a lot of gory details that I think are really important. And as I'm kind of discovering in myself and in my business and just in my life, that these details really do make a difference in my story. But bottom line is, I grew up in a very driven kind of perfectionism kind of lifestyle. I was like the only Jewish kid in all of Butler High School. And the reason that I say that is because I struggled with a lot of insecurities. I always struggled with being, different, and kind of just feeling like I was I just wasn't in the popular crowd, even though I had a lot of friends. I was dancing since I was at age 3, and so there was always that performance kind of mentality. And then when I was in 5th grade, I was about 4'11" and 100, and I don't even know. I was extremely overweight. I had a Morris the Cat T-shirt, and Morris's face was like distorted on my body. And I'm not even kidding when I say that. I mean, I was extremely overweight. My parents put me on diet pills in grade 5, and my dance teacher stressed, lose weight, lose weight, lose weight. Well, then in 7th grade and 8th grade, I basically lost weight to the point where I was 98 pounds. And if I reached 100 pounds, I would stop eating. So I kind of had an anorexic mentality, even though I could never, ever bring myself to actually purge. My mentality was, if I got to 100 pounds, I would get up in the middle of the night and do sit-ups, push-ups, whatever. I was like, whatever it would take. If I ate a potato chip in school, I came home and I would confess it to my mother. I would ask her every morning, do I look fat? And she wouldn't even open her eyes, and she would tell me no, and I would be fine. So there was a lot of that, needing that self kind of, like somebody to tell me that I was okay and somebody to validate me. And then to top it off, in high school, when I was on the pom-pom team, we got weighed in every single week. And if you weren't a certain weight, you were not allowed to march. Well, that kind of set me over the edge, because all of my friends were beautiful, tall, thin. They wore makeup all the time, and I kind of felt like I was just this plain Jane. So there was always this image mentality. Well, then I went to West Virginia University for my undergrad, and anybody that knows anything about it, WVU, is the #1 party school in the nation. And again, I came from this kind of reserved background where I had very high morals, and I didn't party in high school. So I went to West Virginia and kind of went a little crazy. And I gained the freshman 40. And, I basically was in a sorority, and I was like drinking myself to oblivion, frat parties all the time. I would have these relationships with these guys and couldn't understand. I was in very, very dangerous situations all the time, because I was just this party animal. So over the course of time, I then, in about 1990, I'd gone up and down in weight, probably, 10, 15 times. I was on every fad diet. I did Slim Fast. And I remember in 1990, before I went to LSU as my master's, I remember my big thing was I'd just become a Christian. So I was this Jewish girl, and I became a Christian. And my biggest prayer when I went to LSU was that I would stay on Slim Fast and that I would find a church. That was my only thing I cared about. I was going 3,000 miles away, and Slim Fast and finding a church were my only two concerns. So long story short, I went up and down, in and out of just dysfunctional relationships, never feeling good about myself, struggling, just being new in my faith. And so I ended up having a great relationship with a guy that I went to college with, who was my very, very, very best friend. And long story short, we got married. And we moved to Louisiana, and we had a great friendship in our marriage. And I never, ever, ever, ever felt attractive to him. I would do everything to make myself feel pretty, and there was just never that attraction. Well, fast forward several years, we got divorced. Still great friends. He is now married to his significant other, Kevin, in New York. And so I struggled for 4 years trying to make this person who was never going to be attracted to me, feeling very inadequate. And I moved to New York City and started singing with New York City Opera, and very cutthroat, very competitive, very just really a negative place to be. I was, again, trying to be this great woman of faith, and ran into the arms of this guy who had a ton of money and worked on Wall Street, and told me he was going to take care of me, and just thought I was the cat's meow, found me extremely attractive. This whole, long story short, we lived together for like 2 years, and I was under the mentality that if I'm going to live with somebody and have a relationship with somebody, that I had to marry them. So we got married, and after a while, he was emotionally abusive. He almost killed me a couple times in road rage in a car. He pulled out in front of New York City buses and called me every words that you don't even ever want to be called. Told me he wished he married a 5'2" petite Italian woman. Well, I am a 5'11", not so petite, Jewish Christian woman. So it was, and anytime I would eat anything, he was always like, looking at me like I was going to gain all this weight. And again, the whole vicious cycle of my eating disorder mentality came up. This whole vicious cycle of wanting to be accepted came up. So I was dealing with this turmoil. In the meantime, I'd found a great church. I was leading worship. I was doing choir. I quit New York City Opera because I wanted to go into full-time music ministry, which was the best thing I ever did. But as time went on, 3 years into our relationship, Steve had some issues with women, and I could never go anywhere with him without him gawking at somebody else. It didn't matter how young, how old you were. So here I was trying to be this person's, wife, and trying to adore him and respect him. And every time there was somebody else around, it was always like he was looking. So anyway, without going into too much graphic detail about that, we went to counseling, and he was classified as a social something or other, where basically people were telling me I needed a lawyer and I really needed to get out of this relationship. It was not healthy for me. So went through a divorce again, and here I am. I don't know, I'm 47 now. This was like 30. I was 30-ish. Felt like I was a fairly attractive woman, and most people said to me, wow, you really seem like you have it all put together. I can't believe you were divorced twice. I can't believe you're a Christian and you were divorced, and I can't, and wow, you're really attractive, and it was almost like, what is wrong with you, and I felt like I had to wear like this scarlet letter. So the reason I'm mentioning this, because I really do believe it's part of my story, because between the feeling of inadequacy and feelings of never being good enough to appease these men, I really found that, honestly, if I did not have my faith, if I did not have strong support system around me, but again, I know that it's by the grace of God that I'm even like emotionally where I am right now. But and the reason I tell this, and the reason that I've kind of kept this part of the story out, is that I feel like I've carried around a lot of this shame. And I feel like, we as women struggle so much with our self-image as it is. And I kind of fast forward and I go, with Beachbody, I finally found something that I can think about my health. I really want to motivate people that it's not about, it is about physique. And I still struggle, honestly. I need to throw away the scale. It sets me off. It makes me depressed. It puts me in a total tailspin. Any cheat day for me is like ridiculous. So I still have this mental, emotional thing that I deal with. But my basic motivation now is, my body is a temple of God, and wanting to teach people that, we're given one body, and we need to honor it, and we just need to like take care of it. And so I'm just so thankful, because I did find my husband, Mitch. And when I found him, we both were broken. He's been divorced twice and has 3 kids. but he absolutely adores me. He adores me 50 pounds heavier. He adores me now. He works out with me. He supports me. He is an awesome, strong man who wants to pursue his relationship with God. It's just, and the reason I'm saying this is that I just feel that anybody that thinks there's not a second chance or restoration or a chance to get healthy emotionally and physically and spiritually is totally being deceived. And that's kind of like where I want to go with my story, is the fact that we have a lot of good things to give, and I believe that all of the negatives that happen to us impact us. I believe that I can talk to young women. I believe that I can talk to people that are in bad relationships. Do I struggle with shame? Do I sit here now and go, I can't believe I'm telling you guys that I'm 47 years old. I've been divorced twice. But my life now is so amazing. And because of Beachbody, because of my relationship with the Lord, I mean, again, and that might sound really like kind of crazy to some, but honestly, he has pulled me through it all. And he has showed me that by grace and restoration. And that's what I want to, I guess, I don't know what the word is, emulate or let people know that, taking care of your body, again, it's not about the vanity, but it's just about feeling good about this one thing that you've been given to take care of. And so that's kind of where I have, I mean, a lot of other things that I could share, but I don't want to bore you. But bottom line is that that's just where that's I guess where I kind of want to see where my niche is for people that are women that are broken, but that want to get healthy, that we're not all put together, that we have, restoration in our future and and as a hope. So I guess that's sort of where I am. I mean, if you guys want to ask me anything, I'll be really honest. So
Gosh, thanks for sharing all that. That's a lot to share, and we really appreciate your vulnerability. And I think, I mean, there's so many great takeaways and so many people who I know could relate to that. And the one other piece that I was thinking to add to your story or to add to moving forward for you is maybe the team like atmosphere of Beachbody and kind of the women acceptance, accepting that piece too. And I wonder if maybe including that somehow in your story could be, you know what I mean? Like not only respecting your own body, but finding people who love and accept you for who you are and all that kind of.
Right.
That was the other thing I was thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know. Does anybody else want to respond or share anything with me? You can unmute yourself if you are muted. Shannon, thank you for sharing. Yes. Thank you. I think, I mean, one thing that I find so appealing about what you talk about is, is your passion for what you have come through and your passion for what you have found and delivering that to other people. I mean, it's just so obvious.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna, because I know in these recordings you can't see the chat box, but lots of people are thanking you and things. Yes. So yeah, thank you. I mean, and I think sharing little bits of your story as you go, which you have been doing, I think will really help draw people in as well. Because I think there's no, I think all of you know, I don't think I would suggest creating this like super long post, but sharing like little bits of those.
Yeah.
I think you'll relate to so many people.
Yeah. Well, and also too, I was going to add too about, I've also been through these jobs, being a musician, being a singer, I've kind of freelanced, and my husband, he wants to be a pastor. And so there's that part of me too, that's always been kind of like wanting security. And when I married my second husband, the idea that he was secure and, we bought this nice house in Staten Island and, I was sort of relying on him. And then when he basically left and moved to Europe and thought he would find himself. But I was left with like, this stupendous $1,800 a month mortgage and had to be a survivor. So part of me feels like what I want to do with Beachbody is just get that financial independence too, to finally just be able to breathe and say, you know, what I've come through, being a survivor that way too, financially, you know, to finally be able to like give back a little bit, you know? So that's the other part too.
Yeah. Mia, I'm speaking up. Hi. I didn't know any of that background about you, but I know I also have an ex-husband who was emotionally abusive and violent. And I was married and divorced. I was divorced by the time I was 25. And I know a lot of people, you don't really realize it until sometimes it just kind of comes up. But it seems like when you mention it, there are so many people who've been through the same kind of thing, and hearing, you know, how you've come through it and what you've done and how far you've come, I think, you know, there's going to be, it's actually surprising how many people you come across who relate and will be inspired by where you are now.
That's awesome. Thanks.
I feel like, you know, we all have a story, whether we realize it or not. And I feel like that's what makes us as coaches so awesome, because we can go out there and we can share our stories with everybody. And like Kathleen said, like breadcrumb it. And over time, you'll see like how much more respect that you will get from people, and how many people will start following you more because they can actually relate to you, and you're real, and you have pain, and you have suffered. And a lot of that, you know, comes into the fact of their weight, you know, people's weight gain. So whether they want to admit these issues that they have or not, you know, by sharing our story is helping them cope, and maybe would make them more interested in joining your fitness challenge, because you can understand, you know, that pain and how that can lead to emotional eating and other, you know, other areas of what's the word I'm looking for? Oh my God, abuse, not abuse, but addiction. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I'm addicted to food. I'll be the first to say it. If I did not have I'm absolutely addicted to food. I love it. I go to sleep to the Food Network.
Yeah, but a lot, and this is a social worker coming out of me, but like a lot of our emotional issues do lead to, you know, for some people, not everybody, but anyway, so just wanted to add that in there.
I just heard this quote. I'm just gonna say it real quick. People respect you for your strength and love you for your weaknesses. I think that's cool. So there you go.
That's exactly what I was getting at.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right. Well, thank you again, Mia, for being brave and for sharing that. And I think I really love this part of our calls now, getting to know each other a little better and hearing stories.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, and we're going to work together as a team on getting kind of a concise way of sharing our stories with people, so that when we're talking with people and we're going to get this down. And I think by practicing it and hearing other people talk, we're going to kind of really get that under our belt. So,
awesome.
Okay, so we're going to keep going now.
Go, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mia. I am going to do a quick screen share with you so we can. I can just show you what's up for September. Let's see here. No. View. Here we go. So I just, I wanted to reiterate that I would love for all these calls for somebody to volunteer to share their story. And then later in a few minutes here, we're going to have somebody talk about, I'd like 3 volunteers on the call. And if any of you want to actually speak as like the main person on the call about something that you feel like you have have done well with or something, that is always welcome too. But 3 short and sweet 5 to 7 minutes kind of things would be sharing your story, talking about a program or product, and Anne's going to do that in a few minutes here about PiYo, because she's done PiYo before, and that's of course what's on sale this month. And then we're just going to do a quick share of some inspiration with the team, something you've read or something that somebody that you talked with, or maybe a great story or something. I love this quote too, if you haven't seen it yet. The flawed notion that progress happens in leaps and bounds is an organizational curse. Real progress starts and ends with teams committed to taking one step at a time together. And I just kind of feel like that's what we're doing here. So we're going to do, I think most of you know, but if you don't, we're going to do weekly calls now. We were doing them every other week, but I kind of feel like we got enough going on to do them weekly. So I have in Inspiration Nation a sign up for the next month's worth of calls. If you want to sign yourself up to take on one of these 3 responsibilities, I would love that. And don't be shy, and don't feel pressure. Like I said, we're a friendly audience. So the September promotions, 3-day refresh is still on sale, $140, regularly $160. So 3-day refresh and Shakeology Challenge Pack, PiYo and Shakeology Challenge Pack, $140, regularly $160, and then the PiYo Kickstart, which includes Shakeology and 3-day refresh, is $180, regularly $205. So that's the whole month of September. And this is what I think you guys saw this, but in case you missed it, so SC, so only you need SC5 for this amazing prize, I guess, for Challenge Pack or for Success Club. You get P90X base kit, P90X2 base kit, and P90X Plus series, which is retail value of almost $300. That's pretty darn sweet. So no reason not to make SC5 your goal this month, at least. I mean, I've never seen anything like that before. There have been months where it's you get the thinking bobblehead. I mean, come on. This is nowhere. I know some people like the bobblehead, so I don't mean to make light of that. But come on, this is crazy. And if you even if these particular programs aren't your first choice of programs, I mean, you can always think about them as prizes or giveaways or gifts or whatever. So work for that for sure. Just a reminder that the Masters Hammer and Chisel is coming out in the winter. I believe we're going to get some kind of sneak peek in October from On Demand. I personally am really looking forward to this one. I definitely will be doing this, and I would like to promote it when we keep learning about it. So keep that in mind. I don't know if my picture's blocking you guys, but it's Autumn Calabrese is joining up with Sagi, and Sagi does Body Beast. Of course, Autumn is the 21 Day Fix lady, so I think it will be pretty sweet. Just to get you marked on your calendars, the next Super Saturday is happening October 17th. There are some areas that do Super Fridays or Super Sundays, but it's that weekend. The Pittsburgh Super Saturday is going to be October 17th at Stage AE, which is downtown next to the stadiums, and it's going to be from 1 to 5. There's going to be, at this one, there's going to be some trainings from some of the elite coaches that are in the Pittsburgh area. So Melanie and Alyssa, Jacqueline Stokes, and Katie Flynn, I think some of the other people, Katie Ersta and Katie Flynn. And we get corporate representation for this Super Saturday. Jeff Hill is going to be there. So it'll be great. So plan to come to Pittsburgh or wherever you are. Pittsburgh always also has a live workout, and there are always great success stories that kind of help keep you motivated. If there are any new product launches, I'm sure they'll be talking about Hammer and Chisel and whatever else they've got going on, which will be great. Again, if you're not in the Pittsburgh area, find a Super Saturday close to you. We can help you do that, or you can just look in the back office. And then this is something I just wanted to announce, and then I'm going to shift over to Anne to tell us about PiYo. So the leaders on the team are putting together a brand new kind of training that we're really excited about. So this is going to be starting September 14th, and I'll post about this in the group as well. It's going to be a 6-week training, kind of unlike other trainings that we've done in the past. It will be a Facebook group, but there will not be daily posts. And the whole goal of this training is to educate ourselves about volume and sustainable income in this business. And basically, volume, if you didn't know, so you can earn income, of course, in this business through commission, which is selling products, but you can also earn your income, your residual income, which means income that you build over time, and that hopefully at some point you won't be working as much as you are right now, because you'll have a team building under you. And this is kind of that kind of training. So understanding better what the legs mean. What's your strong leg? What's your weak leg? What's a cycle bonus? What is team volume? When you rank, there are certain ranks that you reach and then you cap out at certain incomes. And what's that about? So this is just education for all of us about this company and what network marketing means for Beachbody. And if you have any questions about any of that stuff, we're going to try and cover it all. So the way this group is going to work is you have to be Emerald, because it doesn't even make sense if you're not Emerald, because you can't access any of this. So getting to Emerald by September 14th would be a great goal. If you're not there, if you're there already, you're in. And we're going to have the leaders on the team have each picked a week. There's going to be 6 calls. They'll be on Mondays, and you can either tune into them live or you can just catch the recording. And then on Thursday of that week, there will be a live Q&A within the Facebook group. So whoever does the call, let's say it's my week to do the call, I will do a recorded call about the topic of the week. And then I'll be available. I'll make myself available on Thursday that week. So it would be your responsibility to watch the call between Monday and Thursday, and then be available to ask questions in the group if you want live. Or you can catch the recording on all that and just go back into the Facebook group and just read the questions and answers and all that kind of stuff. But it's really just an educational group so that we can all understand this volume stuff better. And we are even going to be learning as we go too. There's some wonderful resources out there. We're going to do a team call with another coach from a different team who has done this training already, and she's going to actually lead a team call for us about volume training, because I feel like our team, our uplines are really rank driven, and that's not the way that all teams operate. And I just kind of want to help everybody get a perspective on what volume is and how you can build an income from this business through that. So hopefully that makes sense to you all, and we can talk about that more about that later as well. And that is it for my little slides there. So do you guys have questions about that training? Oh, there's a lot of chats here. Hang on. I missed that. Wait. Yes.
Sorry, it was kind of off topic, Kathleen.
Okay. No problem.
You announced that Jeff Hill was coming, and Kara was excited because Carl is coming to the Arizona area.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
And then it opened up the conversation about children. What I know, I've seen that Pittsburgh Super Saturday that some coaches bring their children, because of course not everybody can leave their children.
Yes.
I don't know. Have you heard anything about that? Like, is it frowned upon or?
Yeah. Nobody's ever said you cannot bring your children. I personally wouldn't, because mine would never sit there and I wouldn't get anything out of it. That's just my opinion, but definitely people have brought their kids. I can't say it's like in the majority, and I guess it would be up to you, but I've seen people bring little babies, and that doesn't seem to be an issue for anybody. Personally, you would not want my 3-year-old there. I wouldn't want my 3-year-old there. I love him, but no. I've been asking about if we can, because I'm on the market council for Pittsburgh, I've been asking, can we try and set up some kind of childcare or something like that, but it hasn't come to light yet. I think that could get sticky, but I don't know.
Especially with the amount of coaches that we have coming to Pittsburgh Council and Pittsburgh Super Saturday.
Yeah. It'd be a cool idea. But you can always, you don't have to feel like I know for Pittsburgh, so it's 1 to 5. You don't have to stay the whole time, because the end is always the workout for us. So if you want to only be there for an hour or 2 hours or something like that, you don't feel like you have to stay for the whole thing. And there's a training component that you know what I mean? You can pick and choose what you come to. So don't let the timing of it be to discourage you from coming. Okay, so let's turn over to Anne for a few minutes to tell us more about PiYo for those that maybe don't know or maybe didn't get through the whole program. Give us the lowdown.
Hi, guys. So PiYo is, I think a lot of us on the team have actually done it, but I did it last year when it was first released. It was my second program post-baby, and it is kind of a mix of Pilates and yoga is how I explain it to people. It is definitely more free-flowing than yoga is, because you are pretty much constantly in motion, so you're not just standing and holding a pose, which for me, I like because I'm not a yoga lover. But it's different than Pilates I feel like Pilates, you're laying on your back and doing a lot more core exercises, and this you are standing and doing more motion. But they say it's really good for people, for everybody, because it is low impact. No equipment is required for the basic PiYo, except for a yoga mat. There are 2 different tracks that you can go on. So I think the challenge pack this month will just be the basic one that comes with like 9 different workouts. They are around 20 to 50 minutes each, depending on what they are. I'll be honest, I thought the first, and I don't know if anybody else wants to speak to this if you've done the program, felt like the first week to 2 weeks were pretty slow, especially for people who are already into working out. But then after that, it does pick up and get a lot better, and the workouts get tougher. It definitely is a program where you're going to have to focus on your nutrition to really see the results. So I think people don't notice as big of results as quickly as you will see in a 21-day fix or something like that, because the program itself doesn't. The nutrition book that comes with it is very similar to what 21-day fix does without using the portion control containers. But since it's not like the main focus, like sorry, cat, main focus of the program, I think you really have to dial in the nutrition to see the biggest results. But you do a lot of downward dog type motions, balance type motions. I definitely noticed a huge improvement in the definition in my arms after finishing this program. It's a 2-month program. After that, you can buy the supplemental pack to do the strength portion, so you could do it for another 2 months, and that you have to purchase separately. It's an additional 2 workouts, and it comes with Beachbody slides too, so you can you put your feet on the slides and slide around, more dynamic motion. But they have 9 different workouts in the basic program: lower body, upper body, strength, core, sweat, buns, sculpt, and drench. I don't know if anybody has knee problems. I personally don't, but I would think there are a lot of squats and bowler type moves. So, but there is a modifier with every workout. And then there are, like I said, a lot of downward dog type motions. So shoulder, wrist issues, I would think could be tricky. But again, there is a modifier. And it's Shailene Johnson. I don't know if you guys have ever done her workouts, but she's super positive, really nice to listen to. I don't know, she's very chatty, but it's not annoying in any way. I really liked the program a lot. I'm not always a huge starting and finishing following the program and finishing it all the way through, and this one I did. And like I said, I noticed a huge improvement in my arms. The only time I ever noticed tricep definition in my arms. They usually get bigger when I work out, and they did not in this. So I think it's good for leaning. It's really good for flexibility. I know I did it with a lot of my friends who are also runners. So for cross-training purposes, they would do it on their off days to help their muscles restore and increase flexibility. And yeah, no weights, no equipment. You can do it in a small space, which is good. And it's pretty, like I said, I think those joints could come into play, those issues could come into play for certain joints or injuries, but it's what I did. Actually, I started doing it again at the beginning of my pregnancy when I was just not in the mood to be jumping around or like doing anything super intense, and that's what I'm planning on. Once I finish up size, I'm going to go back into PiYo just for the end of my pregnancy as something that's just good and an effective workout, but not super intense. Does that make sense?
Awesome. Thank you. Yeah, I'm excited that one's back on sale. I'm glad it came back around. It's a great program. Okay, so I'm going to switch gears now. Does anybody have questions about PiYo? I think most of you have seen it at least, right? I think so. Okay, so I'm gonna share my screen again. So I wanted to talk with you guys about September. So I think everybody in here is in that posting group. If you're not in the group, back in June, we kind of together worked on what we are calling a posting formula for the 21-day fix. And the idea is that we all kind of work together, brainstorm ideas so that you have an idea of what to post, when to post, what we're aiming for. And all of these things, of course, are optional, but I find it really helpful to have some idea of what the month looks like overall. And I think it worked pretty well in June. I think that we can even tweak it and continue to tweak it. But the overall goal is to come up with kind of a formula for how to promote things so that we can plug in anything we want and move forward and teach this to our incoming coaches. So I put this together for September. You're welcome to follow it if you want to, if you got your own plan in mind, whatever. But this is kind of what I'm going to do. So this is not invented by me. Other coaches have done these kinds of things, but this is kind of how I'm going to proceed. There's going to be a free group that I'm going to start promoting this week and start it on Monday. And then while that free group is going on, then I'll start promoting for the challenge group, the 30-day challenge group, for 2 weeks and start that on the 21st of September. And then while that group gets started, then I'm going to start promoting the coaching opportunity. So hopefully this calendar makes sense to you. So again, starting up here with the September, I'm going to start promoting for a free group and then open it on Saturday. Then while the free group's going on, then I'll start promoting for the 30-day group. That we're going to start our volume training. And I've heard from a number of different people that it actually takes people about 2 weeks worth of seeing something before they're on board with it. So even though around the end of week 1, you're kind of like, I don't want to say any more about this. People are sick of hearing about it. We're going to push through that feeling and keep going, and then start that group on the 21st. And then we're going to start promoting for Coach Basics. We'll start on the first Monday of October, whatever that would be, the 5th. So that's the idea of this calendar. I'm not necessarily suggesting that you need to do a promotion every single day, but just be talking about something about whatever we're promoting. So does that make sense? Do you guys have questions about this calendar? I can't see everybody, but if you do, speak up and we can talk about the calendar. Does that make sense the way it is? All right, I'm going to stop sharing then. So what we're going to try and do in that posting formula group is actually focus on Shakeology this month. If some of you want to do something different, go for it. I hate feeling like I tell people what to do, but this is what I'm going to do, and I invite you to join in. So the idea behind promoting Shakeology is that sometimes when we're doing these promotions for other workout programs, it's kind of like Shakeology is an afterthought, or Shakeology is kind of hiding. And then you promote like the 21-day fix, and then you say, and you got to get Shakeology, and people are like, what? I didn't know I was going to have to do that, or whatever, that's so expensive. So I kind of don't want to hide behind the workout programs anymore. It's an amazing product, Shakeology. And so we're going to try and work together as a team to figure out a great way to promote it. So the ideas of promoting Shakeology, what we're going to do within that group, and again, if you're not in there, please join in if this is something that appeals to you. We're going to talk through this quickly, like within the next couple of days. We're going to talk through all the objections that you yourself might have had to Shakeology. I know I had them. And then we're going to talk through together, or the objections you're hearing from other people. But I would prefer you think about your own objections to Shakeology. I'm going to create a thread in that group about the objections. And then we're going to think through our own turning points. What was it for you that made you decide, okay, I'm going to go for it, I'm going to give it a try? I know for me, I can tell you 2 things happened for me that made me try it, because I didn't do shakes before. Kind of unlike Mia's story, I did not yo-yo with different diet fads. I just kind of tried like exercising, tried eating, but I didn't do Slim Fast, whatever. So my story is not the same, which is why it'll be so great to hear everybody's stories about it. But I can tell you the 2 things that got me was Shakeology actually was going up in price by $10. And I thought, oh my gosh, if I'm gonna try this, I want to save $10. And the second thing was somebody had said that they had been comparing Shakeology to Starbucks, and I don't drink Starbucks, so it didn't resonate with me that $4 at Starbucks and $4 at Shakeology. That didn't resonate with me. But what did was that somebody compared it to Subway, and I was like, I do eat Subway, and I think it's pretty healthy. And of course, it's not nearly as healthy as Shakeology. So anyway, so what we're going to try and do together is come up with all of our objections and then all of our turning points, specifically what our turning point was, what was the thing that you decided to try it. And then we're going to kind of collect all those so that as we're getting objections, we'll have things to draw from. And then we're going to also come up with ideas of how we can post about Shakeology for 2 weeks straight. And again, it's not going to be like you holding your cup drinking Shakeology, although you can do that if you want to, but I want it to be a little bit more than that. So we're going to kind of think through posts together. So for example, some ideas of posts that we might do are, what are superfoods? What does that mean? What does a superfood actually do for your body? Or what are probiotics? Or what are prebiotics? Or what are antioxidants? What do those things actually do for us? And we can maybe even pull together different links to different articles unrelated to Beachbody, but ideas of like that whole thing that I've heard recently about how the nutrients in our soil is no longer as nutrient as it was 100 years ago, and like those kinds of things. So they'll be like talking about it, but not talking about it. Do you know what I mean? So we may not even mention Shakeology in the post, but just kind of getting people to understand that we have some idea what we're talking about and that what we're talking about is relevant. So and then the other ideas for posts will actually come from Beachbody itself. So they've spent millions of dollars coming up with catchphrases and whatever, and listing out why Shakeology is awesome. But what we want to do is take those points and personalize them. So not everybody in here maybe had an issue with regularity, but maybe some of us did, and maybe we can talk specifically about how that has meant something to us. Or maybe not everybody in here needed to lose weight, and that particular piece of Shakeology didn't appeal to them, but maybe you had a cholesterol issue or whatever it is. So we'll just collect up stories like that as well and personalize them. And then we can all draw from all those different ideas. So I think it will be easy to come up with posts for 2 weeks worth of Shakeology kinds of things, because I think there's like 30 some people in the group, and if everybody came up with one idea, that's 30 posts right there. So easy enough, I think. And I think if we can think of it that way, and then the latest numbers I heard is that you should do 7, 2, and 1, which is 7 posts about not the product but other ancillary things, and then 2 of your own things, and then 1 promotional post. So anyway, so we might try and work with that formula together. And again, if we can get a formula down of how we speak about promotional things, then like when the next one comes out, like the hammer and chisel one, we'll kind of have this formula down, like why would we want to lift weights, and what would that do for us, and so on and so forth. So that's kind of the idea of the group. Do you guys have questions about that? I went through that kind of quickly, but I knew that our time is running short here. Does anybody have questions? No. Okay, so it's crystal clear. Okay, good. So what I'm going to do is I'll post those topics in the group, and then I'll have everybody just start kind of brainstorming together. What were your personal objections? What was your personal moment of, what was your personal turning points? And then we'll also just start collecting resources that we could share, links to articles that you found that are awesome, or quotes from books. I don't know how many of you have the Darren O'Lean, the Super Life, the book that he actually wrote himself. Maybe we could pull some quotes from there. That would be really awesome. Or whatever. And we'll just like start collecting those, and then we'll kind of put together, I'll put in there like the formula. So we should do like 7 from other places, 2 from ourselves, and then 1 promotional thing. And that'll be the plan. And then hopefully everybody will feel much more confident about posting. And I don't want you to feel limited to Facebook. I know some people are branching out already, and I highly recommend that. Whether you want to try posting some of that stuff on Instagram, or creating a board on Pinterest about superfoods, or whatever it is for you. If you're blogging, maybe doing some blog posts about that, or whatever. If you're doing the Periscope thing, is anybody trying the Periscope thing? No. Okay. Anyway, it's the new Twitter thing with like, if you're doing live videos. And anyway, if anybody's trying that, you could do a little live video of the supermarket or something. I don't know. Anyway, nobody's doing that, so that's okay. So anyway, so that's kind of the plan, and we'll just use that group to kind of brainstorm and put it all together. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Thank you. All right, cool. Okay, so one more thing I just wanted to talk about, and then we'll wrap up with Terry's going to give us some inspiration. So what I want to also highly encourage you to step outside your comfort zone and do this month is run the free group yourself or with one other person. And I'll tell you why, because somebody gave us this great piece of information, and now at the moment I can't think of who it was, and I'm sorry that I'm not giving credit to the appropriate person, but oh, I know. I think it was Anita Myron. Anyway, doesn't matter. She's not on the call. But thank you, Anita, or whoever it was. Run the free group either yourself or with one other person, because here's the thing. When you start opening it up, and I'm going to say some ideas for running the free group would be create an event if you want, and just invite all your friends to the event, or just personal invitations or posting about it, whatever. But when you do it yourself, why I'm saying that is because, one, you get to be like kind of the expert in the group and people hear from you. But the real reason why I'm saying that now is because when we did our last free group, we tried the idea of having everybody invite a friend or more than one friend. And everybody that got invited to the group is now a new contact for you. So friends of friends will now become your friends and will now be seeing your posts. And plus, people are more likely to participate if they have a buddy in there or whatever. So the groups could be much smaller. So rather than having 50 people in a free group of multiple coaches, maybe your group will have 10. And that's cool, because if you've invited 5 people and they've each invited a person or two, then now you've got that many more new people seeing your posts and participating in the group. So my suggestion is running them either yourself or with one other person, 2 at the most. Again, just my suggestions. I don't like to be the dictator in here, but I want to say that seemed to work pretty well when we just kind of threw it in there. And we did offer a prize for anybody. Every person they invited to the group got entered into a drawing for a prize. And I don't think it even has to be a crazy prize, like a 3-day refresh prize. I'm talking like a water bottle or something like that. People just seem to really like having something to work for. So anyway, so that's my suggestion. And if this feels like this month maybe isn't for you to do that, then aim for doing it next month. But I say go for it. Because what do you got to lose? Even if you had a group of 5 people, that could be an amazing group, I think. One of my favorite groups had 4 people in it. So I'm just saying. Okay, I'm done talking now. Does anybody have questions about that? Which, by the way, we have all those great templates, so don't even feel like you have to recreate a free group yourself to run it yourself. You just use the templates.
I actually have a question about the 6-week training that we're going to starting. So, and I really apologize in advance if you've already discussed that. What do we do if we're interested in that? Like, what do our coaches do if they're interested in joining that?
I'll create a group, and then people can just start joining in. It'll be yet another Facebook group. Sorry about that, but I don't know how else to run them yet.
Okay.
And I'll make a post about it in the group for anybody that's not on the call or that wants to read it instead of be told it. Cool. You're in. Okay, Terry, wrap it up for us. Bring us back. Oh, sorry. I tried to unmute.
Oh, there we go. Hey. All right, you guys are all freezing occasionally, so I might freeze. I don't know. Can you hear me? Yes? Okay. So I just thought of this real quick. I think I shared this on our team call last week maybe. And it was just like a challenger thing that sort of struck me, and I get her post with you and then kind of give you a little bit of background of her. Well, she was one of my customers. She was actually a lead from probably 3 months ago. And what I typically do is, this is probably not what you should do, but towards the middle or end of the month, I will like kind of look at the leads that have been put in my back office that month, and then just on one day, I'll just email them all and kind of introduce myself. And I have a lead letter that I'm sure you've seen in, you know, the files of Inspiration Nation, and I give it out to all of them depending on what and she actually had bought the 21-day fix program. And so that was something that I mentioned in my letter to her, and I invited her to join a challenge group. And at that point, like, she actually responded right away, which, as we know, doesn't always happen with leads, and said she has the program and she likes it. She was going to start it 1 week, but didn't, and she's kind of wishy-washy, and she didn't really want to join the challenge group because she just wasn't sure about it. So I let it go. And then the next month I invited her again, and she was like, well, tell me again what this is. She's probably just wanting me to stop bothering her about it. But I did, and I sent her a video of kind of what it looked like. And she was like, okay, maybe I'll try it. And she became my Facebook friend. And I did invite her to a clean eating group first. So she did like that. And then she joined the 21-day fix group this month. And so I'm going to share this post. I think I can screen share real quick here. I shared this with my team because I just thought it was pretty cool. So this is her. Her name's Karen. Hopefully she doesn't care that I'm posting this all over, but I just thought it was interesting. So she wrote, I don't know if you can read it because my screen's small. This was like probably the third day or so, and they were supposed to post their after workout pictures. So this is my first challenge group. It is also the first time that I've allowed a picture to be taken of me in a long time, let alone all sweaty and gross. Looking forward to letting this be the first day and the start of a new path. Thank you all for all the posts recently, especially on meal ideas. It is so appreciated. So I know she like had such a hard time, A, joining the group, and then B, like, I just thought it was sad that she hadn't taken a picture of herself in so long, but that she felt comfortable enough to share it in this closed group with all of us. And then, you know, everybody commented, and they, you know, and I think she's definitely encouraged. But so I just wanted to share that little inspiration.
I love it. Oh, that's so sweet. That's awesome.
Well, I also think it's a good message to reach out to your leads. Because I didn't know this person at all, you know, and so yeah, passing that on. And I did want to say real quick, Anne was talking about PiYo and how she did it like with some of her running friends and things like that. I know like September and October are really big running marathon months. And last year at this time, a bunch of us, and I don't remember who was all in it, but did like a PiYo running group. And while we did it, we made a PiYo running template and kind of did like a hybrid of PiYo and running. So I have that if anybody wants it or wants to use it. I can even put it, it might be in the files, I don't even know, but I just want to kind of remind you of that if anybody wanted to do that or promote PiYo in that way, because there are a lot of runners right now.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you, Terry. Oh, right at 10 o'clock. Look at that. You're so good. All right. Well, thanks everybody for getting on. I'll post in the group about the training that's coming up. And then I'll be doing a lot of posting in the Take Two posting formula, that group too. So look for that. But if you have any other questions, and don't forget to sign up for Being Bold and Talking on a Call in the month of September, because I would really appreciate it. Next week is the 8th, and we have a guest speaker on. Deidre Penrose is going to talk about challenge groups and her success in running challenge groups and some ideas she has for how to do that. So please check in and stay tuned. I think she'll be great. She talked on talked at Summit about that, and it was really
I am so excited for her for that call, because I learned so much from her at Summit, and I'm so glad you guys are going to hear from it right from her mouth. So awesome.
Yeah, she's very dynamic. I really enjoy her talking. She's really funny. All right, so we will see you all again soon, and thanks for getting on the call tonight. Good night.
Good night, everybody.